later, we're at our friend's house to give you an update on how these hibiscus are doing. This whole area, I'm just so pleased with it. It looks so beautiful, and I know our friends love it. In fact, they've got a couple of chairs where they sit a lot of the mornings. This area does get quite a bit of afternoon sun, so mornings are really pleasant up here, and they say it feels kind of like a secret garden, and they really have enjoyed developing this area. And so these are Candy Crush hibiscus, and we are also going to be showing you 3 other varieties of hibiscus in today's video, just as updates to things we've planted in the past. These are cut back every single spring, and they grow new from the ground every year, and they get this big. Now they are blooming a little bit earlier for us this year than they typically do because we've been so hot here, and it's interesting to see how different each one of these are behaving in the same exact location. And I'm wondering if this one gets a little bit more sun, like the most sun of all of them, and then the 2 of these get kind of the reflective heat and reflective light off their home. I don't know. Sometimes there's no rhyme or reason. Like this one is completely full of buds. Like it is chock full of them, and if we would wait, a week or 2, we could probably show you all 3 of these in full glorious bloom. But I just think they're so gorgeous. I mean, the flowers are massive, so I think they grow up to about 8 inches in diameter. Look at this, just huge. And then they have this deep almost red eye, so it's a very striking looking plant. We don't have very many things that look like this that will grow in our high desert area. In fact, I think on the Proven Winners website, it even says that they prefer acidic soil. And we're very high pH here, and look at how they do. They're just amazing plants. Now they're also bog plants, or termed bog plants. So if you have a very sunny area that stays wet, you have moisture issues in that spot, this would be a really good plant for you to put in that type of area. So wherever you plant them, you want to make sure full sun, give them space to grow because they will grow this big in one season from the ground. And then you want a source of consistent, at the very least, consistent irrigation, or, a naturally wet area. These are probably one of the last perennials to come up from the ground in the spring. You'll probably think they're dead. And then usually sometime in May for us, you start seeing them poke through the ground, and then here we are. So they start poking through the ground in May. We're in the we're in middle July right now, and they're already this big. A few more things about this specific variety. It grows about 48 to 54 inches tall and wide in one season, and they just get stronger and more full of blooms every single season that you have them in your ground. And they are a zone 4 through 9, and they attract butterflies and honeybees. Let me really quick touch on the other things in this area because I feel like it's such a beautiful blend. We've got a couple of nearly wild roses up here. There's a little lavender plant right in between. And then some beautiful Gara. Isn't that a wonderful choice for this space? We have Gara around a fountain at our house, and I really like it. And I think it's a really good textural change between, the weight of the rose, the weight of the, or the boldness. When I say weight, I mean boldness of the hibiscus. It's just a really nice, wispy, kind of ethereal look there. And then underplanted with what looks like, I'm guessing, Supertunia Mini Vista Indigo and a Supertunia called Lovey Dovey. Just a gorgeous area. We're gonna head into the backyard. We planted some evening rose hibiscus back there. This one is evening rose, and I just think it's amazing. Based on what it looked like 2 years ago when we put it in the ground, we planted these at the very same time that we planted the Candy Crush up front, but this one has a very different look to it. So the flowers, same size as the ones up front, 8 inches in diameter, dark cranberry colored eye, but super intense, vibrant pink. And the leaves look different too. So these get almost black in color, but you kind of get that two-toned look to it because the stems are still a nice bright green. The undersides of the leaves are green, and so are all the buds. And this one is just loaded up with buds. So we have this one right here, which looks really good and full. There's one other one, I think it's a little bit more shade, and I knew I was kind of pushing it when I put it here, but it still looks really nice right here. So you can kind of see it's a little bit different shaped, and the reason why right here is that they lost a couple of branches in a really hard windstorm that we had the other night. That happens every once in a while, but this plant will quickly recover. You can see new ones coming up right here, and those will just, probably in just a couple weeks, they'll be totally full and it'll look just like the other one. All right, let's head to the next location. So we're at Aaron's parents' house right now, and they've got the most gorgeous summerific Holy Grail hibiscus. There are 2 of them right here, and it's a really interesting situation here, which I'll explain in terms of water. But this one has 8 to 9 inch huge, vibrant red blooms, very like clear red. And I love this, like at the end of this little thing in the center, I don't know all the scientific terms, but like these little things, so pretty. And then the leaves are very dark. And I was talking to Erin's mom, Sue, and she said that she loves these so much because when the blooms are done, like right here, they are the same color as the leaves. So you can't see the spent blooms, which is so nice. So it doesn't make her feel like she has to come out here all the time and be deadheading the plant. And then when the blooms do fall off, this is what they're followed by, like another bloom. Another bloom looking structure, chartreuse green, which contrasts the leaf color really nicely. And then as those age, they kind of turn a yellow and they just drop right off the plant and kind of disappear. So it's been a very low maintenance plant for her, which she really likes. And this area, she said it receives no maintenance. It actually has no water running to it. But the interesting thing about it is she said that this side of the house was never really graded properly. So they have, I mean, the land naturally slopes up this way. And so all of the sprinkler water and all, you know, all the moisture just runs toward the house, which is not a good thing. So this has been an excellent solution. They have actually an Arctic fire dogwood right here, which dogwoods like that really like moisture here. The hibiscus really like the moisture. And then there is a white pillar Rosa Sharon hibiscus right here, which will be beautiful white blooms on more of a pillar shaped plant. I think that one just went in last season, so it's not quite in bloom yet, but these are utilizing all the excess moisture that this area is pushing toward the house, which is really a good thing to think about. Those things like, what can we plant here that can solve a couple problems? They can look beautiful, provide some interest, but also take care of all the water running toward our home. So pretty much the same specs on these, about 48 to 54 inches tall and wide. Zone 4 through 9 attracts all the pollinators, but I did want to show you the super bells we planted up here earlier on for Mother's Day because they're doing so well. So we've got Super Bells Over Easy, which is the white with the yellow center, and then the Super Bells Lemon Slice. Love them. She does a fantastic job with Super Bells. I don't have as good of luck, so I always know if I bring Super Bells down here, they're going to flourish and do wonderfully. So now we're going to head back down to our house and I'll show you the 2 varieties of hibiscus that I have planted. We are back at our house now behind our chicken coop. We've got some of the evening rose hibiscus in the very back there. So it's the same variety that we just showed you in the backyard of our friend. And it makes for a beautiful back layer. I mean, you can see all the other layers here, the Supertunia Bordeaux. We've got some wild rose heucheras, Osteospermum Bright Lights Yellow, White Wands Veronica, which desperately needs to be sheared back. But it's so full of pollinators still, I just cannot bring myself to do it. I think it would make it look a little bit more clean back here, but that's okay. And then we've got our purple fountain grass, which I think looks really beautiful with this hibiscus here. So you just saw some close-ups of what these look like, but I have to tell you about how tough this plant is. I had somebody helping me in the garden. This was a couple of years ago after I planted these. It was the first year they were planted. They bloomed beautifully. They were small, but they were great looking. They were cleaning out this flower bed. I had a bunch of coleus back here. They pulled all the coleus and they pulled these 2 and put them all in a heap. And a day or 2 later, I realized, like I was walking by and I thought, where did the hibiscus go? Well, they got pulled up with all the coleus. So we went and fished them out of the heap and replanted them. And they still did amazing. So they're just a really tough plant and I'm thankful for that. The other variety I have is called Berry Awesome. And it was the very first variety out of all of these that I planted maybe 3 or 4 years ago, and they're here. Now this whole area is under construction. We are having the Hartley greenhouse installed right here, so it's likely that these hibiscus will be transplanted somewhere else in the garden or maybe utilized in the same area, but just in a different kind of design. But knowing what happened to those others makes me hopeful about the transplant with these. I think they'll do fine. So these have a really interesting color, kind of a lavender pink. Isn't that pretty? This is a little bit of an aged flower. You can tell petals kind of getting a little worn, but there's just buds all over these plants. They started blooming, I want to say a week or 2 maybe even ago, and then they'll just keep blooming throughout the rest of the season. And in terms of care for water, we have ours on drip irrigation. They get very consistent irrigation. When it's 100+ degrees like it is now, we water every day. And these have been undergoing temps. It's been over 100 for at least 3 weeks, and we have at least 10 more days of it, maybe more. And to see these looking so vibrant and doing so well while there's other things that are struggling, it's really nice to have some things that can handle that. In terms of other maintenance, I do fertilize these once a year in the spring, and then we cut them back in late winter, early spring. And we usually leave about a 6-inch stalk. Even though they come up fresh from the ground every year, it's a good idea to leave a little bit of a stalk. It protects the crown from any kind of freeze thaw cycles, which, you know, sometimes our springs can be kind of erratic. So anyway, that's it. They're just so low maintenance and they look so beautiful. And I just wanted to give you guys an update because this is showing like several years of growth on these. And then our neighbors, of course, are just 2 years old, and I think those are 2 years old as well. So anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it, and we will see you in the next one. Bye.